Hello there, my mate Vince here, and check this out, a huge box of Amazon returns. So all these items have been sent back to Amazon for one reason or another. Maybe they've been damaged in transit, maybe some of them the customers just didn't like. But I'm hoping in this huge box here there should be some faulty items, and it'd be interesting to see the range of faults on them. Good thing about this is I don't know what's in here, so it lends itself to getting items that you wouldn't normally attempt to repair, and sometimes those items can be the most interesting. So I'm just going to dive straight into it and we'll see what's what. Get them over to the blue mat and hopefully we can fix some of them.
Ah, beautiful. Here we have a JBL speaker, but it's got no audio. So this was one that I couldn't fix before because I can't get hold of this chip, little charge chip here, but there is some charge in the battery, and if you have a listen, as soon as you turn it on, it makes a noise. Just like that. And if we turn it off, it will also make a noise. On this one, it turns on, it charges, and also it connects to my phone, but there's no audio. So watch this, it's on at the moment. If I turn it off, no noise. And if I turn it back on, there will be no noise. And it's got nothing to do with this here. Nothing there at all. So there's something wrong with the audio side of this. Let's open it up and see if it will become obvious on the inside. So to get into it, we need to remove this thing, this thing, this thing, and then undo all the screws, and this will clamp out away from it. Right, interestingly, look here. There's a screw that's partially undone. So maybe someone's already looked at this. That's very, very strange why that's undone there. So I'm just going to undo the speaker here, just in case it's not connected, because it's weird why that one there is undone. Well, there we go. What is going on? Not soldered on at all. What? Has there been some funny business going on here where somebody's bought this, taken it apart, and then look, we're on now. 1 second, let me turn it off. Yeah, has there been some funny business going on where somebody's bought it and then swapped it out for their own speaker? But why would they do that? That's plugged into the board here. Well, you know, I don't even need to worry about unplugging it. Unless, of course, the speaker's not working at all. Now, I don't know which one. I'm just going to solder it on like that way there. But I don't know which one is going to be... It's not going to make a difference just with one speaker anyway, because they're not going to be phased with another speaker, so it shouldn't make a difference which way I get it round. It just, one's going to push it in and one's going to push it out. But if there's only one speaker, because this is just some passive thing, then I don't think it will make a difference. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's solder this back on. This here actually looks like a setup, but I promise you it's not a setup. Well, I'm tinning that up there. Should be ample solder on here already. But let's just... See, the weird thing is, this would have been put in to the board with the wires intact. Unless... No, it doesn't make any sense. Unless there's something else wrong with it, and they undone this to get access. It just all seems a bit weird, and then ripped it out too far, and then just sent it back. But I don't know why they would have taken it apart in the first place if it was working. Right, let's see, is it going to work now? So turn it on. Yes, it is. Well, that is weird. How bizarre, because it's not exactly an easy thing to get into. Oh well, it is what it is. Why they weren't on there, I do not know. But still, a nice little fix. Right, it's connected up to my phone now. If you have a look here, when I do the volume here, you can see it moving, and up here, and it packs a good punch for the size of it. Pause works. Yeah, nice little device. How that happened, I really don't know. Did somebody buy it and then mess with it? Problem with that is, how did they get into it? It's not exactly that easy, and it does look perfect. Or did something weird happen when it was being manufactured? Did somehow somebody break the speaker and still put it in there? Not too sure what happened there, but yeah, nice easy fix for me, which is the main thing. Let's move on to the next item. And the next item is going to be this Ultimate Ears Wonder Boom. What? Why are you looking at me weird? Have I got something on my face? Ah, that's where I put it. The sponsor of today's video, PCBWay. PCBWay have over a decade experience in the PCB industry. They have state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities, and they use the latest technology to produce high-quality PCBs that meet your specification. At PCBWay, they have a range of services including PCB prototyping, PCB assembly, flexible PCBs, high-density PCBs, CNC machining, and 3D printing. And if you're heading over to PCBWay.com and go to shared projects, you will find a section where it says projects of the week. You can find some interesting stuff on there, and also there's PCBWay videos where you can learn more about their services and activities. So a massive thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring the My Mateman's channel. Now, back to the Wonder Boom. Okay, this is just a quick example of why certain things get returned, and this for me, if I was a manufacturer, would drive me mad. And do you really have to spell it out to the customer, or do you try to make your packaging fancy? Or I suppose this is where you would probably have a helpline, because it would actually maybe save you money on returns, because the original seller of this would have lost out, Amazon or the manufacturer, because it says that items are missing, but it's not. So in here, the reason for the return is because it said items are missing. Now, the actual item itself is a Bluetooth speaker, so that can't be missing. I think it's referring to the USB cable. So look at this. You open it up here, and you see that you have a little speaker here. When I go to turn it on, it appears to turn on. And also when I hit this button here, it appears to go into pairing mode. So I haven't paired it up to my phone. There might be faults with it, but it looks like it's okay. I think they went to charge it up and probably thought, I haven't got a cable to charge it up. And that's because, look here, there's just a little symbol here that says USB, and there's a little lightning bolt. And you have to open up this in order to get to the USB cable. So I think that's what the problem is. I think they just didn't look in there. And I suppose whoever took the return doesn't know the products. You know, if you're dealing with Amazon, they're probably not going to know every single product to say, oh yeah, check in there for the USB. But that's unfortunate there, because that's cost somebody money just for the sake of the packaging not being overly clear, or the customer not taking a bit of time out of their day to look around the packaging to see what USB may possibly mean down here. But yeah, there we go. I don't believe there's going to be anything wrong with this. I think it's just the fact that they thought the USB cable was missing. Right, let's move on to another item. Next up we have some binoculars. Nice and small, come in a little carry case here. Celestron, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, up close G2 10x25. Now I've taken these outside, and unfortunately I can't get them to focus properly. I can out of the one eye, so basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to look through, find a point in the distance, use this on your left eye here, so close off your right eye, use this, and then close your left eye, and then use this here, because this one, I've got them the wrong way around. This one here you can move like this, and then once that image becomes clear, it should be fine. But basically it's blurred out of my left eye all the time, and if you look closely here, you watch this moving in and out. So watch this, can you see it's moving down into the body? This one's not moving. Let me zoom in and show you that. So watch, can you see that lens is going down? So when I look through the right one, it's fine, but look at the left one, it's not doing anything. Oh, it's moving a bit. but not as much as that. Look at the difference there. Yeah, if they're having a race, you can really see this one coming up on it. But it is moving. So I can't get this one to focus on any length, near or far. I can't seem to get it to do what it needs to do. So now, do I need to push that down further? Oh, here we go. That went nice. Hold on 1 second now. Right, that's resistance. That's resistance. It's not coming out, is it? The same as that one. And I bet I need to push it again. Yeah. Right, so now can I force it? Can I force this one down, or is that going to break it? No. How do you even get into these things? Yeah, so there's something wrong with the travel on this side here. Now, is it something I need to take apart? One thing that I can see, I'm sure it's not going to be it, but can you see there's a little metal thing pushed in there? It's not pushed in there. Let's just try to force that in, just in case it's something as simple as that. You never know. There we go. That popped in. Right, now, let's see if it stays in. Yes, it does. Right, well, that make a difference. Oh my. No way. Hold on. Well, it's definitely coming all the way out now. They're the same. Wait a minute. Is that one in more? Maybe not. Let's get it so it's lined up here so you can just see the edges. I think this one needs to go. I wonder how I can take those things out. Maybe that's how you reset them. Do these things, are they supposed to pop out? Oh, hold on a minute. This is the travel. Look. Oh my word, that is the travel. Look at that. That is the travel. So, if I move this now, what happens? Oh, sorry. These things move in and out here. Look. Ah, right. Okay. So in which case then, that should be the same on both sides unless it's taken a whack.
So it looks like it probably has taken a bit of a bashing. So let's try to strip this thing down. I've never done it before, so I don't know how to tear it down. But I'll start pulling at this and yanking at that until it comes apart.
I wonder, can I take this off here? Feels like plastic. There we go. Yes, you can. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, look, 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 look. I think we can adjust it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this one, but I'm really enjoying it. Ah, no, it can't go any more forward because look, see, it's against the very edge here. It can't physically go any more.
Right, so annoyingly, I'm going to have to strip this down further because it's a problem with the lenses themselves. One side's not being pushed forward as much as the other side, and that's why it's not focusing properly. Yet this focusing wheel at the moment is moving it's the one mechanism. Do you see what I mean? It's not a separate mechanism for one side and the other side. This one focusing wheel in the middle will move them both forward and backwards. It should be the same amount. And for those of us that have slightly different vision between the eyes, that's where you use the actual adjustment on the eyepiece. It's kind of like fine tuning. So if you can imagine, the middle wheel is for the big tuning, and then the one on the actual eye itself is for the fine tuning. But the big one is completely out because one lens is about 2 or 3 mil in front or behind of the other one. So that's the reason why one eye is always completely out of focus. So I am going to have to strip this down. It will probably end up breaking completely, but these binoculars are no good as they are. The only person it would work for is if one eye was completely different than the other eye, but that's not how binoculars are made.
Right, I've taken this off here hoping to find a load of screws, but I can't. There's just a cylinder. I can't see any screws. There is one little hole down here, but it doesn't seem to do anything. I can't, when I get the screwdriver in here, it doesn't look like a little grub screw like the other ones. There's nothing happening. So I don't know what that's about. Unless maybe, do you know what you might have to do? Maybe you have to take this string out here, and then it will take an axle out, and then this might pop out, and it might give you access to it in there. Remember, everything's always easy once you've already taken it apart or watched someone else do it. Yeah, we have a big flathead screw going through there. There we go. Ah, now we're getting somewhere. Excellent. Nice big grub screw. So, what happens here? Does that... how do you get that bit out though? Oh, here we go. Oh, so there's a tiny little kind of ball bearing that side there. Right, well, look. Now we have access to this. And sure enough... Oh, it's broken. Oh, no, it's broken. Let's zoom in on that. Look, it's all loose. Oh, hold on. Is this on a screw? This is a screw. No way. Do you know what? I'm really, really enjoying this one. Ah, right. So that's nice and straight, but it's it looks like the thread's gone. It does it? Is this just plastic here? I think that's plastic. I think just the thread's gone. Maybe the original owner forced it too much. I wonder, could we just put a little bit of you know, a thin bit of plastic like this, a plastic bag in it to make it a bit thicker and then screw in? Or maybe I can put some super glue in, put that in, because all we need is for this to be straight. If this is straight, then it will force the lens out more. Because all that's happening is, because this has so much play in it, when it's moving along, it's not forcing the lens all the way out, you know, because there's too much give in it. Either that, or I wonder, could I just screw it in more? Let's see if it worked when I screw it in more. Good news is it's not actually broken, it is a piece of metal. Very nicely made. I wonder if you screw it in too much, will it get into the field of vision? Here, I've made a single one here. Right. Well, look at that. Look at that. That's much better. Can you see now? It's nice and straight. And it goes right the way out. Look. Boom. Full travel. Right, I'm going to have a quick look outside now and just with one eye closed and see if it's focusing better on a wider variety of objects near and far. Result, yes it is. Basically now it focuses around there, but yet I still have maybe 2/8 to go, while before it was all the way. So I'm going to do the same on this side now, and then we'll have to kind of use double-sided tape or glue to get this back into place. So you don't need to take any of this right here. You can do it all from here, which is very interesting. Of course, those of you that work with these knew that from the beginning and you were shouting at the screen. Now that one there is much tighter. So if you have a look, can you see there's no real wobble to that? So maybe from new it wasn't put in quite enough. Just going to give it an extra couple of turns. And again, look, it goes right the way out now. Right, I'm going to put it all back together and see what it looks like.
So they do look incredibly well made, and I've got a feeling a lot of binoculars would probably have a similar design, so maybe a lot of them come apart in a similar kind of way. A real shame that I stripped apart as much as I did, because it really wasn't necessary. All I had to do was undo the 2 grub screws where the strap that goes around your neck is holding on to the actual binoculars, and then that uncovers 2 flathead screws in there. When you undo them, it comes apart and it makes it a lot easier to work on. So now I have a little bit of work to do, because obviously I have to super glue the rubber all back onto the side that I took apart, but everything's easier in hindsight. Next time if I have to take some of these apart, it will be really quick and really straightforward. So while I'm putting these back together, I'll give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. The Massive members this month are kitdigital.com, Kip Hakes and Max Rockatansky, Having Fun Repairs, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeeps.com, DJ VG, Pixie, Robert from Timsy's Auto Air, Daniel Watson, Anthony Dean, Bazza 2, Russ Melanson, Gaspar Heller, Rickard Bergland, Jacob Colpin, Matt Rawlins, Soul Reaver 555 and Angry Al Tech. So as always, many thanks to each and every one of you. Now let's test these binoculars out. So there we have them all back together. So you can see they still fold up nice. And watch this now. See the lenses here? If we go out here, can you see they both move out now? And they both move in. To me, they look the same on both of them. Because look at that, all the way out there now. What a result. I really thoroughly enjoyed that one. All because one side had come loose. Okay, check this out. That is just a light behind a plant pot. It's about 7 meters away. And now watch, if I put this up to here and I'm going to zoom out, hopefully we'll be able to see it, and I'll go through one lens at a time. Well, I know I've got the shakes, but can you see the leaves there? Yeah? Now if I go to this side, the leaves are also in focus. Oh, this is kind of pointless. You just have to take my word for it that it is actually in focus on both eyes now. Perfect, without going full travel on here. So 100%, there's no doubt in my mind, this is now working. Right, next up we have these Yale Living Door window contacts. It says here faulty learn switch. Now, I don't think I've got a way to actually prove whether it's working or not, but can you see here that we have a clickable switch here, and also here, because I presume if somebody knocks it off the window, or maybe vibrations, then it will detect it there as well. But this switch here looks intact, but on this one, it's in bits. So let's just try to put it back together. I presume that's the only fault on it, but I don't actually know that. If you have a look here, can you see that we've got part of it connected to this little magnetic bit here, just wobbling around, which is good because it means it's retrieved it, and the switch is here, and it's not here. Yet, the screw here has been done up. So, let's undo it and see if we can place it back in. Right, so that's just broken there. Hold on now. We're missing as well the inside contact. It's not just that, you see. There's going to be an inside contact on it. So we're missing that, unfortunately. I wonder, could I take one from something else? Right, let me have a good look in the box in case it's elsewhere. No. And that's how the reed switch works. Can you see here? When you have this come into contact with this, it's going to make the reed switch connect together. Let's see if we can mimic that. So we put our meter in continuity. Right, check this out. No continuity. Bring it close. And we've got continuity. Pull it away. And we haven't. So what happens is, it will always have continuity. Then when somebody opens a window, it breaks it from here. And then, I presume, unless the alarm is off, it will then enable the alarm or chime, beep at you, however you have it set. So I'm going to have a little look at my tiny little switches to see if I've got one here. Maybe I can just replace this one completely. No, saying that, I need it to have this sort of top on it to stick right the way through. I think I'm just going to see if I've got one that I can take the inside out of. Then I can place this back on and just get the soldering iron and melt these things down, and then it will be back in place. Right, I've got 2 packs here, and the only difference between them is the little button sticks up a tiny bit on that one and sticks up a little bit more on that one. So let's
take one out. I'm wondering if the inside's going to be the same. So I'm just going to break these off. These things are very cheap, as in like, I think they work out to be about 10p each or something. They don't cost much at all when you buy them in bulk. Here we go. Excellent. Right, so that's a little thing I need there. And the bottom of that looks kind of similar to that. Doesn't look completely different. So now it's going to go, it's a dome. So we need the dome side up. Is that going to fit in there? I think it is. Oh. There we go. And listen. Can you hear it clicking? Yeah, I think that's going to be all right. So fit that in there like so. Let's try to get this on it. I'm going to get my soldering iron on and melt them. I'm just going to try to melt down each of the corners. Right, I think that's going to hold. I suppose it is going to get a little bit of, would it get a little bit of downward pressure on that? Well, put it this way, it's not going to get upward pressure, is it? All the pressure is always going to be down. So really, there's no reason, unless you were to force this up this way, that it should break. Let's just get a continuity test again. So if I go here to here, we should have continuity, which we do. If I go to here, should have continuity. And on the diagonals, that's okay. And this one. There we go, fantastic. Right, pop this back together. There we go, hopefully the item will be working. I haven't really got a way of testing whether the rest of it works, but it says here, faulty learn switch, and now it's no longer faulty. Now this is why I love return boxes. This item won't be featured in this video for a fix, because unfortunately it's got a smashed mirror. But I just never knew something like this existed. Obviously I know dash cams existed, but this is a dash cam that's built into a rear view mirror. So it looks like, I haven't watched any reviews yet, but it looks like you strap this on here, and it goes around your existing mirror, and then you have your one facing out the front, your camera facing out the front, and then you have your rear view camera going out the back. You run the wire through the headlining of the car or through the carpet, wherever you can get up to here, and then basically I presume it must display that on this. So that's kind of clever. Annoyingly, it's cracked here, but that may not make a difference apart from visually. I presume this is touchscreen, but because we've only got a button down here for, I presume, on. But if it was coming from this side, it might not matter that it's broken here, because there might be nothing you can touch. Obviously, if it's coming from this side, then the digitizer, nothing will work over here. But if it's fed from this side, because on the Nintendo Switch it's just fed from one side, so even if you had a break here, it's going to work all the way up to here. So you never know, might be lucky on this one. So obviously this got dropped probably by the customer or maybe in transit, and that's the reason this one has been returned. But I thought that's really interesting. I'm not really a person for cameras. I don't really like the idea of them. The problem is though, the way things are going is everybody is getting them. If you look at houses now, they seem to be covered in cameras, cars are covered in cameras, and even if you have a something like a Tesla has got cameras everywhere. So if you're the only one without a camera, you're now going to be in trouble, because if you were to get into an accident, the other person with the camera is just going to say, oh, my camera's not working, if they're in to blame. If you're to blame, though, everybody's got cameras pointing on you. So in a way, you kind of have to have a camera now just to level the playing field a little bit, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, let's move on to another faulty item. Right, this is an interesting item here. It's called a trail camera, or sometimes it's down as a hunting camera. And yeah, it's got all these sensors at the front, and it's supposed to be IR as well. It's supposed to be able to see in the dark. As far as I can see, it's all working. It just, batteries were completely flat, which is understandable. There's a little bit of corrosion down here, so water has got in here, but it doesn't seem to affect the actual use of it. You can see just down here, a little bit of water, so it's probably not completely watertight. I'm going to pop it outside and see what it does, because I just put it in my room and it recorded me walking around the place. But it's interesting. I'm going to leave it out overnight and see what it does. You put it to here and it starts counting down, then the screen will go off, and the lights don't light up at the front, while if you have it on test they do light up. So for example, you can see them flashing now. Well, it's going to keep detecting me, but there you go, you get the idea anyway. So yeah, I'm going to put it to on, and then put it outside, see if I can see any animals in my garden, because it only gets triggered, and then I've just got it set to record for 5 seconds. I might extend that maybe for 15-20 seconds, and then yeah, we'll set it up outside. Right, I pulled these out here. These are some fancy Sony headphones, £250 worth, believe it or not. I knew they were going to be expensive. I could just tell from the case and the feel of them. Anyway, I've obviously I don't know what the fault is, but when I connected them up to my phone via Bluetooth, there was this kind of like background noise that was really off-putting. And all I did was mess around with it, and I hit custom twice, and basically that put ambient sound off. And when ambient sound is off, they sound absolutely perfect. And these have the most amazing noise cancellation that I've ever heard. So basically, when you put them on, the only thing you can hear is in here. You can hear very little from the outside world. Yet, if you're on something like a tube train and you want to hear an announcement, or train or anything else where you want to hear an announcement, if you cut the right hand here, then you can fully hear what's going on in the outside world. Very, very, very clever. So I'm wondering if the previous owner hit the custom button by accident and turned ambient on, and they didn't like the sound of ambient and put it down as a fault, because for me, when ambient is off, it sounds much clearer. So really, that's the only thing that I can see that's wrong with them. So yeah, that's a bit of a result. Something like that will actually get used by myself, so I'm very happy that these were included. Right, next up we have a phone. A Blackview phone, not BlackBerry, Blackview. Never heard of this make before. Looking on Amazon, this brand seemed to sell phones for around about £100. So I could imagine that they could be quite popular. Now, I've had it charging for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it seems to be charging quite low, but yet there's still no life. When I turn up here, there's nothing happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the power button for, let's hold it down for 30 seconds or so and see if that makes any difference. Right, that hasn't made any difference. So let's see if we can get it into some sort of recovery mode by hitting the volume down and power at the same time. I'm going to hold on to both of them. I did actually spend about 45 minutes on this phone to see if I could see what was wrong with it, and I couldn't. Every single connection's perfect, there's no water damage, everything inside just looks brand new. There's only two things I want to show you, and the first thing that is worthy of note is there's 3 cameras on the back of this, but look, when I take it apart, look what I discover. Right, oh my word, look at that. Look at that, what do you see? From the back, you see 3 cameras and you think, oh wow, fancy. How bad's that? Them 2 are nothing. The only camera is this one here. And flash, we have got a flash. But yeah, the flash is here. But those 2 do absolutely nothing. What's the point? What is the point of that? And the other thing I want to show you is when you connect it up to a PC,
it does the USB connect sound, but then a few seconds later it disconnects, and then it will wait about 30 seconds and it will try to connect again, and then disconnect a few seconds after that. And then after 30 seconds it will connect again and then disconnect, and it will keep doing this for as long as you have it plugged in. But it doesn't connect long enough to actually recognize it in like File Explorer or Device Manager. So I think it isn't a hardware issue with this phone. I think in a way it's kind of been bricked via software, or maybe somebody tried to flash it or something. So let me just show you what it does when it gets plugged into a PC. There we go. And disconnect. Okay, I looked online, and when I type in Blackview A55 not turning on, there's a forum where people are suggesting that when after they updated their phone it stopped working. So maybe it was a bit of a dodgy update that got these bricked. I think that it's a software issue rather than a hardware issue. But what is strange, I don't know if this suggests hardware, but when you plug it in via USB, it makes the connect sound, and then about 3 or 4 seconds later it disconnects. So I don't know whether that does suggest it's hardware. I'm thinking it's software, and I think it needs to be flashed. Now, I did look into it. It looks like the software is available, but I started to do the first one where you go into Device Manager and then you add Android to it via legacy software or something. I did that. Then I downloaded the MediaTek, but then I had to look at the firmware for this. And what makes me slightly uncomfortable is we've got 2 fake cameras here, so I just feel a little bit uneasy about putting some software onto my computer that I don't really know the source. So I'm personally not going to take it any further. But I think if this was flashed, it would probably work again. But personally, I dislike software faults. I hate messing around with software. I would rather, and this is saying something, I would rather change out the capacitors in a Game Gear. There you go. I've said it. That's how much I hate software faults. So yeah, I'm not taking this one any further, but I think if you were to flash it, it probably would work again. But if you know that that USB thing there suggests a hardware issue, then let me know, because I could always look at it again in the future. But everything looks perfect inside and it all looks relatively new. So I think it got updated, failed, and now I think you'd need to flash this to get it to work again. So I'm going to move on to another item. Right, this is another Blackview phone that I found in the box there. Yeah, so you see it's a different design here. And yeah, again, it's charging at a similar sort of rate, and it's not doing anything when I go to turn it on or when I hold it down. Right, I'm just going to whiz through this one because it's the same fault as the other one. When I plug it into my PC, it's acting the same. Connects, disconnects, waits, connects, disconnects, waits. What I do want to do is this has a lovely array of cameras around the back. So I want to see whether this just has the one camera and everything else is fake, or whether or not it does have a big array of cameras, because this looks like a newer, more expensive model. Here we go. Ta-da! No. Fake. Just the one camera and the flash. What is that about? Yeah, okay. So I think that they would be an easy fix for someone that knew how to flash phones. I don't think it would be a big deal at all. Right, let's give up on these. But I think this is the same problem as the other one. Alright, next up we have this IE Geek or something security camera. In fact, I can hear myself speaking through it. ZS-GX1S. And interestingly, it seems like it doesn't pan up and down. It's making weird noises. So if you have a look here, there's different ways we can do it. We can either move it here and it moves, but listen when it goes up and down. It's a bit delayed when we do it that way. Oh, it's going right the way down, around, look at that. Better stop that. Let's go back the other way. Is it that way? Well, let's go to pan, tilt and zoom, this one here. Right. So you can see it now, moving there. And moving that way. But when we go down, it makes a noise, doesn't move. Up. Makes a noise, doesn't move. So, let's see if we can fix that. If I do this, it feels as if it's like connected to a motor. When I do this, it's horrible. So I don't think this is going to be fixable. I think it's going to be broken plastic gears on the inside, but still, we'll give it a go.
I can see crosshead screws in here. Is that going to reach in there? Not really. This will though. It's got a speaker microphone. This looks like it's $69.99, so 70 UK pounds. I think that's without the solar, but that's for the 2K version. So obviously they've released another one now, which is better than this one. But I think it was 100. I think it was 120 for the solar one. Right, now, can I take this out without it all falling apart? Yes, I can. Excellent. Ah, right, okay, look. See if you can see what's wrong. Can you see there? This motor has just come away. 5-volt DC motor. So, how are we going to get that back in? Unfortunately, to get it back in, we do have to strip it down because the motor casing has come away from itself. So we need to take it all apart in order to try to fix the actual motor itself. So what I have to do is I have to take out the little white plastic surround that goes around it. And then there's various screws and stuff to undo from both sides in order to take out this middle ball type camera thing. And then once we do that, it will give us access to the motor. And then we got to look into actually fixing the motor casing itself. Well, not fixing, but putting back together. I can't just push the motor casing back in because it doesn't go. But as well as that, it's just going to fall out again just from use. I have to actually make sure that the motor casing is bent in on itself in order then so it doesn't come apart. Yippee! We got access. Ah, so there's a motor and a gearbox. Let's zoom in and see what's what. So it's held in with little clips just here. Let's see if we can bend them out. They're going to come out or not? Here we go. Right, so we're all bashed up on the inside. Are we going to be able to sort this? Let me take a picture so I know what goes where. Right, okay, well that's all perfect. That's the little motor in here. So it's the gearbox, it's this part here which went wrong. Now, will it go back in okay? Yes, it will. Let's just put it back together. That goes there. This one goes here. So obviously this is to turn it from very fast to very slow. Slow but powerful. And that one goes like there. Now, yeah, that's all working. Look, can you see when that turns there? It's loose now because but when it's all together, that's going to turn. That's going to turn all the others. Right, okay. So that looks to be in its place. That's going to go there. And this has to go this way round because we're screwing into it, aren't we? Not that way, this way. Ah, so it's these little things here. I'm going to line this up with here, but it needs to go into these bits and then they bend over. Let's take this off again. So we need to bend out all of these. Let's try to bend them back in again. It's easier said than done. It's very tough. I think some thicker pliers. Ah, that's more like it. I'm going to bend them all out and then whack them back in. Oh, and just like a watch, this is like a bridge on a watch. All of these things have to go into the respective holes here. There we go. There, now they're all in. Can you see all the pivots here? Right, so they're all in their little home. Right, now we need to whack all these things back over. Well, that was a lot easier said than done because this little motor casing is really, really thick, and annoyingly my pliers don't open up quite enough to get good grip on it, but yet the long nose pliers do open up enough, but there's not really enough strength on them. So I move over to my little vise. I'm not sure if I've shown you this vise before. It's been
it featured a couple of times, but then to get my videos down to a watchable length, it's normally cut out. This vice was suggested to me by Marcel, a viewer, so I'm going to call it Marcel's Vice. And it's quite useful because it's just something you can just put on your blue mat. Obviously it's not clamped down to anything, but sometimes it's nice just to hold on to something while you're doing some work. So what I'm doing is I'm using a vice and I'm using a hammer and a screwdriver, and I'm just trying to knock these things back over because I've bent them out now to get this end piece back on, and I now need to bend over the tiny bits that are left on the motor casing so it stops them from coming out again, because there wasn't really enough of a tab to bend over in the first place, in my opinion, hence the reason why it came loose originally. Right, we are done. Yeah, that feels good, and if you have a look, there wasn't much to play with to begin with, but can you see I've bent that round? That's a really good one. That's just there, that is just barely on there now, and that is, well, it's kind of kinked in here, but I think that is going to hold. That's still in here, and that's located here, and when we turn it, it's turning good. I think that's going to work. Ideally I would have liked that one round more, but if it's held in here, here and here, it should, I think, hold. Right, let's get it back together. Right, great news, check it out. Up, I can still hear myself. Down. You can see it's moving now. All the way up here. So we've got a nice bit of movement going on, which is good. And it sounds nice and smooth. And if you give it to the full extent, it just clicks. So I'd say that is all working correctly, and it still goes left and right. So what a nice little fix there. I don't know how that happened. Maybe it was dropped. Do you know what? Actually, it was probably impact damage, thinking about it. It would have been dropped here, and I suppose that would have put force on this straight onto the motor. Yeah, I think that's what would have happened. So there we go. Right, let's finish up the video. So there we have it. We reached the end of the video, and I think overall, pretty successful. I think my favourite fix has to be the binoculars. I really enjoyed that one there, and if I come across some more in the future, I think I'll have a better understanding of how they come apart. These little miniature small fold-up ones anyway. And I think after that, I mean, probably one of the best things here is the Sony headphones. But I didn't really do anything there apart from press a button. Through long-term use, maybe I'll find out what the real fault is, if that wasn't the fault. I think a close second would be this little security cam here, because it was quite nice looking at the motor with the built-in gearbox. I think that was quite nice, and also the way it came apart, I thought it was going to be a complete nightmare, but actually it was okay. As far as this is concerned, I need to do more testing on this. It did record a couple of things, but only in the daytime. It recorded nothing at night, so maybe that's the problem with it, or maybe my garden was very quiet that night. I'm not too sure, so further testing will need to be done on that. Unfortunate about the phones, I couldn't fix them, but I do believe it's a software issue. If you know otherwise, please let me know, and maybe I can do a revisit video on them, because they do look brand new, especially this one here. It looks like it's had no use whatsoever, so maybe it was updated straight out of the box and then it just failed, if that forum is to be believed. But then again, it could be just coincidence that as people updated it, a natural fault occurred. So that is it for this video. I always like doing the return boxes because it throws up loads of different items that you wouldn't normally think to buy to fix. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks for watching, everyone.